The fourth category in our SIOP component has to do with strategies. And here we're talking about both strategies used by the teacher and by the students. We think it's very important, for example, for teachers to teach learning strategies to the students. We know that in many situations, even if not this year but the next, the students will be in classes where they have to learn on their own. So as much as we can do while they're in a sheltered classroom to help prepare them for those situations, to help them learn how to learn, the better it will be for them. But not just explaining it to the students is sufficient. Instead, the teachers must also provide opportunities within their lessons so the students can practice these strategies. Another area of the strategies has to do with scaffolding techniques that teachers might use. And here we talk about both verbal and instructional scaffolds. The verbal scaffolds may be things that the teacher does through speech. For example, a teacher is explaining something to the students and uses a word that the teacher realizes the students don't understand, and so embeds the definition of the word within her conversation. Or the teacher may paraphrase something that the students have been reading. In other events, the teacher may take a student's response to a question and elaborate on it, or ask other students to provide elaboration, extension, or disagreement, other opinions, things along those lines. In general, when a teacher is scaffolding, he or she is trying to help the students understand the material, but also develop the language skills the students will need to be able to process the information they're receiving and then do something with it, whether or not it's articulating it orally or in writing, completing a project or report, for example. And the other type of scaffold are instructional scaffolds, and perhaps the best way to give you an idea about these are graphic organizers. We often find that teachers will use graphic organizers for a pre-reading, a concurrent reading, a post-reading activity, a pre-writing activity, for example, a vocabulary development activity, a unit opener to help set the theme through a web design, something along those lines. These are instructional scaffolds that will help the students understand, again, the content that they are being taught. The final area of the strategies category has to do with question types. One of the critical things we try to share with teachers is the understanding that even if students are learning English as a second language and they're not particularly proficient, they have yet to master the ins and outs of English, they nonetheless can think about and respond to higher order questions. So we encourage teachers to ask questions that go beyond factual recall of information. The why questions and the how questions and the how do you know types of questions, so that the students can think about and analyze and interpret and summarize in their own minds the information that they have received. Now, in some cases, they may struggle with articulating their answers. And if that's the case, that's a wonderful teachable moment for the teacher to come in and help the students say what they are thinking about. Because that's how language development happens, and that's how, as a teacher, you can determine whether or not the student has understood the content that you have been teaching them.